Hello and welcome. You're watching News Central Television. I am Judith, the TB. It's time for News Central now, and here are the top stories at this hour. The House of Representatives passes 39 bills on constitutional amendment for second reading, moves to strip Vice President and governors of their impunity. Senator Natasha Akpoti-Oduaghan criticizes INEC for not rejecting petition seeking a recall. And Zimbabwe's president, in a surprise move, reassigns army chief to sports ministry. We have the details shortly. Let's begin by telling you that the bill seeking to strip vice president, governors and deputy governors of immunity, has passed second reading at the House of Representatives. The constitutional amendment bill scaled through second reading during plenary on Wednesday. More in our subsequent bulletins. Staying in the Green Chambers, where a major step toward constitutional reform in Nigeria has been taken as the House of Representatives in Abuja has passed 39 amendment bills for the second reading. The bills, covering critical areas such as the judiciary, legislature, security, and electoral processes, aim to reshape governance and strengthen democratic institutions in the country. News Center's correspondent Edong Joseph has more on this. We will bring you that report from Edong Joseph in our subsequent bulletin. In the meantime, to help us put this into perspective, we're joined by public affairs analyst Francis Chilaka. Mr. Chilaka, good to have you join us. Let's just get started. What are the primary objectives of this proposed bill seeking a single-day general elections? How does it aim to improve the current electoral process?
For me, it's a welcome development. It's going to save costs to start with, and it's going to ensure that this whole idea of declaring public holidays and all of that, I hope it is part of what is in the bill that will be thrown out. But, yes, in as much as everybody wants us to have all the elections in one day, there are things I would want the bill to take care of. And one of them is the fact that in all of this, we must give room for those in diaspora to be able to vote. It's very, very important, because you can't ask people in diaspora to be sending money home, but you don't, give them opportunity to exercise their civic responsibility when it comes to voting. So I think it's one of the things I would want that bill to capture. And also, I want the bill to capture what plays out in terms of electing the INEC chairman. I think it is high time the INEC chairman or the appointment of the INEC chairman should be taken away from the presidency and thrown to the people. I mean, when I say the people, I mean through a forum where all the political parties can come together and nominate somebody they believe has honor and proven integrity to run INEC. And such person must also have the capacity to be able to do the right thing and not being bullied. And thirdly, the structure of the elections. I am also advocating, I'm one of those advocating that we should stop putting the party logos on the ballot papers. Let us put the faces of those who are contesting the elections so that we know who is contesting and know whether that person has the credibility to be elected. This whole idea of putting party logos is also part of the deception that goes with, a flawed electoral process.
Now, we know that there are challenges from our past election cycle, whether it was from 2019 or 2023, we've seen challenges. I can only imagine what it's like transitioning to a single-day general elections from the federal level to a local government level. What are some challenges that you anticipate?
Well, if the election umpire, INEC, do the right thing, there shouldn't be any challenge at all, because it's just an issue of putting all the ballot papers there, putting all the ballot papers out there, and then let the people go and vote. So I don't think there should be any challenge at all. We're just the ones making the challenges. The INEC umpire, they're the ones creating challenges. But I believe that if we won the elections in one day, it is possible. It's just a matter of the ballot papers, having all the different elections. You go to vote. If there's House of Rep, federal, state, governor, president, you just thumbprint and, it goes free. So I do not think there should be any challenges.
And how does this how does this bill balance the need for a streamlined election process with the potential for increased voter suppression risks? Because we saw that as well in 2023. Not really voter suppression, but voter apathy, or better yet, should I say disenfranchisement? There we go. That's the word I'm looking for. There were people who, we saw the viral videos, we saw the violence, and, the late arrival of electoral officers and the materials as well. Some persons ended up not voting because their officials never arrived at that location. There's also the riverine areas to begin with. Nigeria is very vast. To do general elections on the same day, how can we streamline the process with the potential for increased voter suppression risks?
Well, first and foremost, the people need to be educated, the people need to be informed, and people need to be made to understand that their votes count. The apathy you're having in terms of people not turning out for elections or to come and vote is because the people feel that their votes are not being, counted, as we saw what played out in the 2023 elections. So, but I believe that if we're going to put one day to have an election, and it's going to fall, say, on the Saturday, we're going to have the election. I believe that between Thursday, Friday, every state, every local government, every ward should be able to have the documents sent to them. It's not rocket science. It's not something we should all, be wondering how it's going to be done. It's just a matter of having people who are committed, people who are ready, and people who are petrified to do this job. And it will be done. So I don't see any problem. And the only problem I see is also the problem of the politicians themselves, who at the end of the day would want to grab it, snatch it, and run and all of that. But I believe that if we have for those who will be conducting the elections and for those who will be voting, I am telling you, it will become a piece of cake and people will be happy and, in terms of having to go to the judiciary and all of that. So we must have a system where the election will be conducted in one of the day. Nobody should get sworn in until all legal issues are sorted out. So I do not see any problem with having election in one day. I do not see any problem with having the materials distributed in the same day. These are possible. We have the manpower, we have the resources to do it.
There is a bill that has scaled through a second reading that has scaled through during the plenary today, the House of Representatives, and it's a bill that's seeking to strip Vice President, governors, and their deputies of immunity. It has now been passed through for a second reading. What's your reaction to that?
I think in that bill, they should also include the president. That's if we're talking of democracy now.
Why do you say that?
The proper rule of law. Everybody should be left, so that people will know that, this thing about immunity clause is just protecting people unnecessarily. And that is why, if you saw what played out between Yaya Bello, the governor of Kogi State, Dodo, and the EFCC, you saw that the governor was using his immunity clause to protect him. So if we're going to throw out immunity clause, let everybody be apart. And you know that, yes, you have no immunity to do certain things. And you would find out that people will sit up. Because at that point in time, you know that if you are a governor, you can be sued. Nobody would, there's nothing like anything in protecting you. Because if you begin to protect people from those who have elected them, then there's a big problem. But it's a good bill. The only thing missing from it is the fact that they have not explained to us why the president is not part of those who are going to lose their immunity.
Well, Mr. Francis Chilaka, I must say thank you for taking out the time to join us today. Many thanks for your insight. We appreciate you for coming on. Francis Chilaka,
You're welcome.
Is a public affairs analyst. Now, staying in the Green Chambers, where a major step towards constitutional reform in Nigeria has been taken as the House of Representatives in Abuja has passed 39 amendment bills. Idom Joseph has the latest.
The bills listed in the order paper from number 2 to number 40.
Leading the debate on the amendment, the leader of the House, Julius Ehonvere, outlined the bills, their chamber origins and sponsors, which received widespread support from lawmakers.
SB 2203 Bas Tajudeen and Marcos Sanobu, Honorables. HB 79, Francis Ejirogene Waive. HB 1212, Nnamdi Ezechi, Honorable.
Key among the 39 proposals is a bill seeking to hold all elections in the country on a single day, considering the high cost of conducting elections on different dates. Another proposal also aims to decentralize policing and enhance grassroots security efforts. Also under consideration is a bill that mandates the resolution of all election disputes before swearing in of elected officials, as well as a proposal making the Court of Appeal the final arbiter for governorship, national and state houses of assembly election petitions.
A bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to make the Court of Appeal the final appeal court in governorship, national and state houses of assembly election petitions and for related matters. Second,
for legislative reforms, one amendment seeks 6 special seats for underrepresented groups in the House of Representatives, while another proposes empowering the Chief Justice of Nigeria to issue proclamation for the inauguration of a new National Assembly and efforts to streamline government transitions. Additionally, a proposal requiring the National Judicial Council's approval for the removal of all heads of Nigerian courts aims at reinforcing judicial independence was also endorsed.
A bill for an act to alter the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria 1999 to make recommendation of the National Judicial Council mandatory for the removal of office of heads of Nigerian courts and for related matters. Second reading.
Those in support of this motion that will be read the second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. The ayes have it. The bills are referred to Committee on Constitutional Review.
With the bills now referred to the Committee on Constitutional Review, lawmakers will scrutinize each proposal before making final recommendations. In Abuja for News Central, Idong Joseph.
Senator representing Kogi Central, Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan, has criticized the Independent National Electoral Commission for not rejecting outright the petition seeking her recall, describing the Commission's response as an indication of bias. INEC confirmed receiving the petition on Tuesday, which reportedly contains signatures from more than half of the 474,554 registered voters in the senatorial district. But the electoral body noted that the petition failed to include essential details such as the contact addresses, phone numbers, and email addresses of the petitioners as required by the law. Akpoti-Uduaghan's lawyer, Victor Giwa, in a letter accused INEC of compromising its neutrality by offering guidance to the petitioners instead of declaring the petition incompetent due to its procedural flaws. In the meantime, the chairman of the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions, Nada Imasua, has indefinitely adjourned Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan's sexual harassment case against the Senate president. The probe follows a petition submitted by one of her constituents accusing the Senate president of gross misconduct, abuse of office, and sexual harassment. However, tensions flared during the probe following an exchange between Peter Nwa-Oboyi and a former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, both of whom appeared before the committee as witnesses. News Central's National Assembly correspondent Sagir Ibrahim reports.
Kogi lawmaker Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan submitted a petition of sexual harassment against the President of the Senate, Godswill Akpabio. It was initially dismissed on procedural grounds, as it was signed by the senator herself, contrary to Senate rules, which led her to resubmit the petition this time through a constituent, Suberu Yakubu. He, alongside a former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, appeared before the Senate Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions to testify. The petitioners, however, expressed concern about the composition of the committee, questioning its neutrality and raising fears of an unfair hearing.
We are very serious here. The procedure of this Senate has been explained to you. It's been explained to you clearly. Your client is here. He's the petitioner. He's sitting right in front of us. before we hear him, he will be on oath. Okay. Are you a witness, ma'am?
I am a witness.
You're a witness.
I am going to speak today.
Madam, with respect to you, you were once a minister of this Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Please don't give me
Just hold on, please. Let me finish.
No, don't give me a lecture.
Let me finish. Madam, you will let me finish. It will be wrong for us after we've had this hearing, and we say we cannot consider whatever you said because it's not on oath. So let's understand the procedure. Once we understand the procedure, we understand each other.
We do not agree with you saying that we are not here for serious business. Secondly, sir, we do not feel that this panel is properly constituted. The SAN is not. So but we have an issue, and the issue is important to
speaking.
Sir, but we're talking about fairness and justice.
I have the mic. Please
We're talking about
I want to say
fairness and
something.
justice, sir.
Can I speak?
The SAN is not supposed to be part of this panel because he has taken a stand publicly on this issue. And that is why we cannot sit here and take a vote in front of you.
You don't have the right to say that. You don't have the right to say that. Let me. It is very clear that those who have come before us are not ready to be heard on oath. That means they are just here to waste our time.
Subsequently, the petitioner agreed to be placed under oath. However, the session took yet another dramatic turn when a heated exchange broke out between Peter Nweboyi and Ezekwesili, prompting the committee members to call for calm.
I take exception to a senator.
Why are you talking to me like that?
You are a disgrace to the Senate.
You are an insult to womanhood.
You are
an insult to womanhood. And you are here to tell the world that you have not changed.
You cannot violate.
You are here to tell the world that you have not changed.
You
are. At 70, you have not changed.
With order restored, lawmakers clarified the committee's position, yet the petitioner insists he won't proceed as his key witness remains absent.
Because if you look at my petition, I stated it there that she's my #1 principal witness who will come and testify, oral testification and documentary evidence. Since she's not allowed to be here, I can't proceed further.
We cannot jump to recognize any person without hearing from the petitioner. And if the petitioner insists that he cannot speak, it means no other person will be given the opportunity to speak on the same issue, except that person is coming up with his or her own petition.
With the committee unable to make a headway, members moved a motion to adjourn the hearing while also citing the existence of a court case relating to the same matter.
Since he has no confidence in us and he will not talk because he doesn't on his petition, I move a motion that this meeting, this session should be adjourned.
Based on two things. One, the petitioner said he would not speak to his petition because the Senate is biased, or I'm biased, or the committee is biased. Two, the respondent has just told us, and the papers are before you, that this case is before a competent court of law. Therefore, this committee will allow a court of law that will not be biased to handle this matter. Therefore, this matter is closed here at the Senate and is adjourned.
While the committee's probe was expected to shed light on the allegations and its implications for the Senate leadership, it remains unclear when the investigation will continue. In Abuja for News Central, I'm Sagir Ibrahim.
Earlier, we had the former Minister of Education, Obi Ezekwesili, and the counsel to the petitioner, Abiola Akiode, join us, and here's what they had to say. Take a look.
I believe that we're reasonable people. You wouldn't say, shut up, or please shut up to anyone without a context. And that context was essentially that he apparently came to the session as a witness for the Senate president. So he wasn't in his capacity as a senator member of the committee. He was simply there as he introduced a witness for the Senate president, the respondent to the petition by Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan. Now, Senator Natasha Akpoti-Uduaghan could not be at that session because, as you know, she was illegally and unconstitutionally suspended from the Senate. And also the person who represented her as the one who signed her petition, according to the procedural rules of the Senate, was the one we accompanied. I accompanied him along with Dr. Abiola Akiode Afolabi, who was also in the place of a counsel to him. And so the beginning of the conversation was actually very inappropriate, in the sense that the chair of the Senate, as well as the members of the Senate, basically said we were unserious just because the petitioner, Mr. Suberu Zaraluma, had indicated that he wanted to raise objections before taking an oath, and they said he couldn't say anything to them without taking an oath. So he said that the objections I want to raise are material for what I am required to say about the petition. At that point, we had a situation that was very reminiscent of a determination to shut down people on the basis of Senate rules. So the lawyer then said to him, you go ahead and take the oath, and then use that opportunity to do the objection. And following from that, I said I also wanted to take the oath as a witness, because I was there in my capacity as a person globally who is the chair of the Women Political Leaders, a flagship organization based out of Brussels that brings together all women political leaders around the world, female presidents, female prime ministers, female parliamentarians, and ministers in governments around the world. I only 2 years ago took over from former Prime Minister of New Zealand, Mrs. Helen Clark. And so I was a witness, also recognized by the committee yesterday. Except that every attempt to say this petitioner needed to be granted his right to make the objection that he had, which were two. He said, number one, I do not have confidence in this committee because it has publicly taken positions that are not complementary to my senator. Therefore, I will not expect that any presentation I make to them will be given objective response.
The Senate members present were actually not ready to go on with the matter, and then they were just trying to provoke us and also to shut us down. There were attempts by myself as a counsel, the petitioner, Dr. Okwesi Priscilla, to speak. At a point in time, we even agreed to speak. She even agreed to take the oath and then come in as a witness, which was what they said, that's the rule. What they said the rule was about. But they were not going to allow us. They wanted to subject us to a culture of silence. So it while that was going on, that the senator from Borno State had come up with some tantrums, was just screaming, shouting, and we thought that the Senate should have cautioned him at that point in time. And that was when, the crisis started between him and Dr. Obi. He first said he was there when the Senate President and Senator Natasha met in Akwa Ibom. He was actually the one who would come and give is a witness, to the respondent, and that all these women, they are birds of the same feather and all of that. So it started with that kind of thing. And it was at that point that Dr. Obi said, shut up. Because the senators were also trying to tell him to calm down, and allow the proceeding to go on, that it was not possible for him as a respondent, to bring his, to respond to the issues that have not been asked, because we have not clarified from the petitioner, whether the petitioner was ready to go on or not. So there was absolutely nothing for him to respond to.
And joining us now to give his own side or perspective of what ensued on that fateful day is a senator representing Ebonyi North Central Senatorial District, Peter Nwumbuyi. Senator Peter Nwumbuyi, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for doing this with us. Let's just get started, shall we? Can you share with us your perspective of what happened during the committee hearing on Senator Akpoti Oduaghan's petition?
Thank you so very much, my dear sister, for the opportunity to clear the coast. I want to start by submitting that it's very unfortunate that our women, in particular ablaze, who is a notable politician in Nigeria, can come before the whole world to lie. The fact of the matter is that ablaze, with her friend, the lawyer to Senator Natasha, was too emotional. Instead of them to attack the facts, by proving the allegation of sexual harassment, they abandoned it to play to the gallery. From the very beginning of the proceedings, they were given the Holy Bible or Quran, as the case may be, for them to take oath, which is in line with the proceedings of Nigerian Senate Committee on Public Petition, being a quasi body, judicial body. I remember vividly, and is on tape, that Obi says she cannot take oath. The same thing with the lawyer, and the same thing with the petitioner. Then along the line, the petitioner agreed to take oath. And after that, of course, myself as a witness for the respondents also took my own oath. So after hearing from the petitioner, it was time for me to be heard, because the committee will not hear you if you are not on oath. Even before then, there have been, playing some drama, trying to truncate the whole exercise. But we as senators have understood their game. We didn't yield to that. We allowed them, we tolerated their very childlike behaviors. But at the end of the day, after the petitioner have made his case and even failed to adopt his affidavit because he knew he was lying. So it was time for me, to respond to the allegation as a witness for the Senate President. All of a sudden, most unfortunately, obviously said I should shut up my mouth. I said, no, mommy, how can you address me like this? He said, will you shut up your mouth, you hooligan? I said, no, I can't take this. I'm a sitting senator. You are a former minister of the Federal Republic, and by social stratification, a senator is higher than you. I replied her instantly by saying that she is the hooligan and that she is a disappointment and a disgrace to womanhood. If a woman of her caliber, a leader of female leaders across Africa, can talk to a sitting senator to shut up his mouth, that tells you how rude that woman is. This goes to suggest how bad the character of this woman is. And that goes to suggest that people under her is passing through hell if she can address a senator inside the Senate building to shut up his mouth. So at the end of the day, I was allowed to make my case, and to the satisfaction of the committee, and at the end, the committee came up with a resolution that the matter is already in court, and going by our rules, we cannot entertain any matter that is already pending before the law court. This is also in line with the agitation and protest raised by the petitioner that they have no confidence in the Senate Committee on Public Petition. So, having weighed the two options, the committee decided to adjourn the matter sine die to wait for the court ruling on the matter. So, the attitude of Obi Eze Kwesili is very unfortunate, least expected of a leader like her. A grandmother of that matter shouldn't have allowed her emotions, to carry her that way. So, as a child of God, I've forgiven her, because this is a month of Lent. As Christians, we are enjoying not to allow our anger go down with the sun. So as a Christian, in the course of my interview on Arise yesterday, I said I retract the words I used against her, because she is a grandmother. She's old enough to be my mother, and also ignorance of the fact that two wrongs cannot make right. But at times, there is a local saying in our place that when a madman invades your father's compound, raise your machete and pursue the madman. If not, the madman will wipe the family. So that is what happened.
Senator, I have to ask you at this point, you are apologizing now, or rather you said that you forgive her, but many Nigerians have reacted to this incident and they have frowned at the trading of insults and name-calling.
I forgive her. I'm not
I take that back. You forgive her and you do not apologize. Gotcha. Which is what takes me
I'm not apologizing to her.
Yes, which I'm about to ask you. Many Nigerians have frowned at the name-calling.
She's supposed to apologize to me.
Many Nigerians.
She's the one that wronged me.
Okay. Many Nigerians have frowned at the name-calling and the insult trading that happened. If you said that she was the first to err, giving the video and from your account, why did you not ask that it be stopped and you address the persons who are conducting this sitting to ask her to order and ask for an apology from her? Why did you decide to lean in and trade insults between the both of you? Because if you are the higher, if there's a ranking, because you said it, there's a ranking, you are the higher senator. Giving the ranking, you are the higher person there. You're a sitting senator and you're the representative of Nigerians. And that means one of our core values is respect and order and decorum. Why didn't you show example?
Well, respect begets respect. If you respect me, I say respect is earned. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Loud and clear, sir.
Let me respond. She's talking. Let me respond to what you said. Yes. Respect begets respect. If you respect me, I will respect you. But if you insult me, I will insult you back. That is my belief in life. Because I respected her, immediately I entered into the proceedings hall. I greeted her as my sister. We all come from southeast zone of Nigeria. And for her to talk to me that way, she doesn't deserve my respect. And I have no apology for that. So I demand her to apologize to me. As a senior citizen of this country, she shouldn't have talked to me that way. How can you ask me to shut up my mouth? And when I call her attention that what she's doing is not good, she added that I'm a hooligan. A sitting senator is a hooligan. That's why I said she is the hooligan. And in the course of her interview yesterday on Arise, she didn't deny it. She admitted that she said so. So I don't require the matter that has already been proven doesn't require further proof. So I expect her to apologize to me, but as a Christian, I've forgiven her, I have nothing against her, and I will never have anything against her. But her excesses, should be called to order. And this is not the only time she's doing this. I know of a minister who served with her under Obasanjo government that complained that she beat him up in the Federal Executive Council, and he took the intervention of a fellow minister to separate them. So this is a woman that is known with such character, and I think that she shouldn't have taken such character into the highest lawmaking body of the Federation, the Nigerian Senate.
Who is this minister that you speak of? I asked you about the minister. You said there was a minister that you know who just shared his personal experience in the past. Who is this minister, might I ask?
That is not the fact. That is not the fact in issue. That is not the fact in issue. That is not the fact in issue now. If you want to know, you can come. I will show you the minister. You interview him.
I would like that very much. Now, one of the reasons that the sitting got so tense the way it did is the belief that from the petitioners and their team that most of the individuals there, especially yourself in particular, and some of the members of the ethic committees are biased. Are those allegations founded? Are they true? Would you say that you are biased in this case?
Those allegations is unfounded, unbelievable, and should be discountenanced. These people came up with a premeditation to disrupt the proceedings. They were in the first place asked to take oath, and she says she don't want to take oath. So that shows that she's not ready to talk. They are just there to play games and delay us. And so that is the nitty-gritty of the matter. If you appear before a panel, you are expected to take oath to affirm that what you are going to say before this panel is the truth and nothing but the truth. But they don't taking oath because they know the implication in law. Now, when you lie in law, on oath, you can be charged for perjury. So that tells you that they are prepared. They know that what they are saying is nothing but falsehood. And let me even go to the fighting issue. The sexual harassment being alleged by Senator Natasha never happened. I was with Senator Natasha and her husband on the said date of 8th December 2023 in Ikotekpene in the house of the Senate President. I went there with her, I left there with her. Throughout our stay there, she never had any personal contact with the Senate President because she was always with her husband. I was the closest person to the Senate President and other senators. And moreover, as at that time, Senator Natasha was barely 2 months old in the Senate. So she was still studying ground. So she had no opportunity of even going close to the Senate President. So, and this woman is a serial blackmailer, a known blackmailer that have blackmailed so many prominent Nigerians. And like I charged her rise last night, it is time we beam our searchlight on this woman who is fond of, accusing innocent Nigerians of sexual harassment. This woman should stop using her gender as a weapon against men because she is endangering the level of women participation in Nigeria, not just in Nigeria, but in Africa.
Which other persons is she accused of sexual harassment?
Accused Reno Omokri of sexual harassment during the time of Goodluck Jonathan as president, when the young man was already in U.S. attending to national issue. But unlucky to her, she didn't know that this young man was outside the country. Upon the slightest provocation, she will come up with allegation of sexual harassment. And I don't know what is wrong with this lady. Does she think that she's the most beautiful woman on earth? Or is it because she's had chocolate color? In my own assessment, she's not among the beautiful women in Nigeria. And it is high time we come hard on her. And why people like us are speaking on top of our voice is not just to protect and defend the Senate President, but to protect and defend her future victims. Even her present husband, she married her out of something like this. She threatened to sue the man. I have a letter circulating over the world that the man should pay her 10 billion or marry her. The man had to marry her under duress. So the marriage was under duress, another product of blackmail. I was watching a video of how the father of the first wife of the husband narrated her ordeal when this lady came into their family, destabilized their family, and took over her husband.
All right.
And without going into her character, I asked Senator Natasha how many husbands has she had in her life at the age of 47 or 45. How many husbands has she had?
Good for her.
She's pretending, covering her head like Virgin Mary.
Well, good for her, because there are some members of the Senate as well who cover their heads and also have several wives and also been remarried in the past. I think that your marriage should not be brought into this matter when we're discussing issues of national importance. But I must say thank you, Senator, for taking out the time to join us, to come on here and give us your own side of the story. Many thanks, Senator Peter, who joined us to give us his own insight on what occurred yesterday. Senator Peter Onwomboyi, he's a senator representing Ebonyi North Central Senatorial District. Let's go on our first break, shall we? When we return, soldiers feared killed as terrorists attack Wulgo and Wajiroko in Borno State. We have the details just after the break. Join us again. And welcome back. Now to security matters. Soldiers, including that of Cameroon and Nigeria, were said to have been murdered during an attack at Wulgo in Gamboru-Ngala and Damboa Local Government Areas of Borno State. About 9 kilometers away from Gamboru, the terrorists were said to have used drone technology to attack the formation of soldiers at the border town of Wulgo. Although members of the community now go about their normal activities, the terrorists carted away with armaments and burnt down military vehicles, according to our source, who preferred his identity hidden. At Sabon Gari of Damboa Local Government Area of Borno State, a military base was also attacked by gunmen, where a soldier was said to have paid the supreme price. Zimbabwe's President Emmerson Mnangagwa has reassigned Army Chief Lieutenant General Anselm Namo Sayatua to the Sports Ministry, a move announced on Tuesday by the presidency. Sayatua's redeployment comes after Christine Coventry's appointment as the first woman and African president of the International Olympic Committee. The reason behind the reshuffle remains unclear, though it coincides with rising political tensions ahead of the 2028 general elections. Sayatua, who has a controversial history, was sanctioned by the US and UK for human rights violations linked to a violent crackdown on post-election protests in 2018. Political analysts suggest the change may be aimed at avoiding potential military unrest. A group of refugees who were evicted from outside the Pretoria offices of the UN High Commissioner for Refugees in 2023 has raised concerns about their living conditions. 16 families have been living in a secluded area on the outskirts of Bonhurst Spirit, where they have no access to water or food, and at least 20 children are unable to attend school and receive an education. The refugees blame the UN Refugee Agency for not facilitating their relocation outside of South Africa. News Centre's Bogani Ziziba visited the camp and now reports.
For years, this group of hopeful refugees have found themselves trapped in a secluded corner of South Africa. A space meant to shelter them, yet one that suffocates their dreams. Here, amidst crumbling classrooms and tents, they hold on to a long-held hope to be recycled outside South Africa.
What we want it is to be taken out of South Africa, because we are already South Africa, even South African environment. For us, it is a picture of a traumatizing. It is traumatizing us. We want to see other things. Because they come here, because why I'm saying this, because they always come here, force us to go back to the community, where we are running from the xenophobia attacks, where we are running from persecution.
Yet, this hope has come at a high price. For over 2 years, these children ranging from 1 month old to 21 years old have been denied an education, leaving their futures hanging in the balance, being haunted by the reality of displacement.
It's actually painful in our hearts because we have people going to school, we have some kids going to school, but actually if we see, as we're here, we're checking ourselves, we are in the same place, we are not going anywhere.
For Johnson and his peers, there is a sense of betrayal from the UNHCR.
Look, we have the experience with all our refugees in South Africa. They make the effort to integrate. So what we always sustain for these people is at least make the effort to go back to life as it used to be before. don't subject yourself to once again another situation just for the purposes of being resettled, which is not a possibility. So what we will continue advising this group is go back, because if they go back and if they make an effort to reintegrate, chances are that maybe we can find some of them, they fit the vulnerability criteria that we have with those programs that we still have, they could be considered. But for as long as they remain in that situation where they don't make any effort, they rather go through these very unhealthy situations.
An unimaginable reality for any child, yet for these young ones, it is their everyday life.
You can see now the future for our child is far down. If maybe I ask my child the question, it's making me to crying. If I ask you 1 + 1, you see.
1 + 1?
4. Yeah, the future is far down. Today we come from early in the morning to take the firewood far away, but we are suffering. Even the water, we are going to look for water. Food, we are also suffering for food. There's no food enough. Even our skin, you can even see it, like we don't have, like something is coming down out in our skin. Yeah, we just need UNHCR must help us because we are refugees, we are kids. Also, what about our future? Our future is not good.
Lance Thomas, for Center for Faith and Community at the University of Pretoria, says every child has a right to education and urges the refugees to integrate for the future of their children.
An attempt to try and integrate them into South African society is rejected by the group because they believe that if they send the children to school, if they try and find documentation within South Africa, that they defeat their cause. And their cause is to try and find resettlement because their belief is that South Africa is not a safe space for migrants and refugees.
Every day here is a battle for survival. They call out for help, and each voice is a plea, a reminder of their humanity. In Bronco Spread, for News Central, Bongani.
The journey towards organizing the best ever national sports festival in the history of the Games took a massive boost on Tuesday when President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, flagged off the torch of unity movement at the presidential villa. The colorful event was not only witnessed by Chairman of the National Sports Commission, Malam Shuhu Duku, and the Director General, Honorable Bukola Olakbade, but other top government officials and the governor of the whole state, Ogun State, Dapo Abiodun. The Gateway Games in Ogun State holds from May 16th to 30th, 2025. And that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The House of Representatives has passed 39 bills on constitutional amendment for second reading, moved to strip a vice president and governors of their immunity. Senator Natasha Akpoto-Aduaghan has criticized INEC for not rejecting petition seeking her recall. And we also told you that Zimbabwe's president, in a surprise move, has reassigned his army chief to sports ministry. If you see anything, make sure to send us that report to our WhatsApp number now showing on the screen. And while you're at it, you can follow us on social media. We're at News Central TV on all social media platforms. You can also watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, on Go TV channel 23, Star Times channel 274. You can also find us on Avo TV and stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Judith, the TB. Bye for now.